Okay, I want you to do something for me. Close your eyes and picture Cristiano Ronaldo. Right now, today. What's the image that immediately pops into your head?
Oh, I see the brand.
Yeah.
CR7 Corporation.
That's fine.
I see the statue, the perfectly gelled hair, the billions of followers.
Right?
Honestly, I see a guy who feels less like a human being and more like a piece of high-performance engineering.
Like he was built in a lab.
Exactly. Built in a lab to score goals and sell underwear.
That is precisely what I see. He feels inevitable, doesn't he? Like he was just genetically pre-programmed to be the greatest goal scorer in history. But today, we are going to completely dismantle that image. Because I've been reading through this biography, Cristiano Ronaldo, Ascending to Greatness, and the reality of his origin story is, well, it's messy.
Messi is putting it lightly. We tend to look at greatness backward, right? We see the trophies and just assume the path was a straight line.
Yeah.
But this deep dive is really an investigation into just how fragile that path was. We're talking about a kid who was, severely undernourished, who was bullied.
And whose career was almost over before it even began.
Yes. And I mean that literally. We're going to get into the fact that his first transfer fee wasn't thousands or even hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
It was a pile of used sports equipment.
That's one of my favorite details in the whole story. It just completely grounds the Superman myth.
It really does.
So let's start there. The origin. I think most people assume, because he's Portuguese, that he grew up in Lisbon or Porto, one of the big football cities.
Yeah, and that's a huge part of his psychology. He's from Funchal, Madeira. It's an archipelago, way out in the Atlantic Ocean.
So he's an island.
He's an islander. And the context of Portuguese culture, it's provincial, it's removed. It's a bit like growing up in, Hawaii and trying to make it on Wall Street. You were an outsider from day one.
And he wasn't exactly living in a villa on the beach, was he?
Far from it. His mother was a cook, and his father, Dinas, was the kit man at a local amateur club called Andorinha.
Can we just pause on kit man? Because I feel like that job title doesn't really convey what it is. What does that actually entail?
It's the bottom of the ladder. He's the guy washing the mud off the jerseys, sweeping the locker rooms, pumping up the balls.
Wow.
It's a service role. So Ronaldo didn't just grow up watching football. He grew up in the back room of it. He was literally hanging around the showers while his dad scrubbed other people's boots.
That puts a chip on your shoulder.
A huge one. But clearly, the kid had talent. He starts playing, he gets noticed, and this leads to the transfer to a bigger island club, National.
This is where the source mentions the fee.
It's humbling to read this now. To sign the future 5-time Ballon d'Or winner, National didn't write a check.
What did they pay?
They paid Andorinha 2 sets of kits and 20 footballs.
20 footballs.
That was the market value of a 10-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo.
Imagine being the administrator at Andorinha who signed off on that deal. Yeah, 20 balls seems like a fair trade for the guy who will score 900 career goals.
To be fair, nobody knew. But it gets even more transactional when he moves to the mainland. At 12, the Giants, Sporting Lisbon, come knocking.
Okay.
But again, this wasn't really a scouting triumph. It was a debt settlement.
A debt settlement. He was used as collateral.
Essentially, yeah. National owed Sporting about 25,000 euros for some old transfer. They didn't have the cash.
So they offered them a kid.
They basically offered this 12-year-old kid to Sporting as a way to wipe the slate clean.
That is wild. He's a financial asset used to balance the books before he's even hit puberty.
And so he packs his bags, leaves the island, and goes to the academy in Lisbon. And this is where the machine narrative usually says, and then he dominated.
But that's not what happened.
The complete opposite. He suffered. You have to understand, the Madeiran accent is very distinct. It's thick.
Right.
When he got to Lisbon, the other kids at the academy just destroyed him for it. They mocked his voice every single time he spoke.
Kids can be so brutal.
He was 12 years old, alone, living in a dormitory, getting bullied daily. He called home crying almost every night.
He must have wanted to quit.
Multiple times. He was incredibly isolated.
Yeah.
But he sticks it out. He stays. And then at 15, just as he's starting to find his feet, his body betrays him.
The heart condition, how serious was this?
It was career-ending serious, a condition called tachycardia. Basically, his heart was racing even when he was just sitting still on the couch.
Which, for an elite athlete, is a ticking time bomb.
Exactly. If your resting heart rate is that high, you push it into high-intensity cardio, like a 90-minute football match, you risk cardiac arrest.
So the doctors must have told her he had to stop.
They told his mother they needed to operate or he couldn't play anymore, period.
And this is where we get the first real glimpse of that, that Terminator mentality.
It's absurd. He goes in for laser surgery in the morning to cauterize the part of the heart causing the issue. Most people.
Yeah.
You take a month off. You reflect on your mortality.
Not him.
Ronaldo was discharged that afternoon.
Yeah.
And according to the source, he was back running drills just a few days later.
He didn't hesitate for a second.
Not for a second. And the source material highlights that this is when the work ethic really shifted into overdrive. He became obsessed. He felt he was too skinny, too undernourished.
I read that he used to break into the gym at night.
He did. The academy coaches literally had to put padlocks on the gym doors to keep him out.
Wow.
He was doing pull-ups with weights tied to his feet at 1 a.m, while other kids were relying on natural gifts. He was trying to engineer a better body in secret.
It's interesting, though, because despite all that work, the scouting reports from that time aren't perfect. I was looking at the notes from Laszlo Ballon, the sporting manager.
Oh, that list is brutal.
It's a laundry list of negatives. Selfish, lacks composure, physically weak, and my personal favorite.
Weak aerial ability.
Which is hilarious considering he became arguably the greatest header of the ball in the history of the sport.
It just proves that skills are learned, not born. He built that. But at 17, he was just a skinny kid who did too many stepovers.
Okay, so he's talented but flawed. It's 2003. He's breaking into the first team. And this is the part of the story that blew my mind. The transfer saga. We all know he goes to Manchester United.
But the list of clubs that almost got him.
It's a who's who of European giants.
It's actually painful for fans of these other clubs to read. Valencia had a deal done on paper, but it fell through because of club politics. Liverpool offered $8 million, but hesitated.
But the one that feels like a glitch in the simulation is Juventus.
Right. The deal was agreed.
It is done.
Ronaldo was going to Turin, but part of the payment was a player exchange. Juve was sending a Chilean striker, Marcelo Salas, to Sporting.
And Salas said no.
Salas looked at the deal, looked at playing in Portugal, and said, no thanks. One guy didn't want to move to Lisbon, and football history changed forever.
But the biggest heartbreak, the definitive sliding doors moment, has to be Arsenal.
Oh, I think Arsenal fans might want to cover their ears for this part.
It's brutal.
In January 2003, Jorge Mendes, Ronaldo's agent, drives him to London. They meet Arsene Wenger. Ronaldo meets Thierry Henry, his idol. He falls in love with the club.
Wenger even printed a jersey for him.
With his name and the number 9 on it. They had the shirt ready.
So why didn't it happen?
Real estate. Arsenal was in the middle of building the Emirates Stadium. Every single penny they had was tied up in construction loans.
They were broke.
When Sporting raised the price slightly, Arsenal literally didn't have the cash flow to close the deal.
That is just tragic timing. And that left the door open for the predator, Sir Alex Ferguson. Now, the famous story is the friendly match, right? Sporting versus Man United. Is that true, or is it just PR fluff?
It's true, but it's the climax, not the whole plot.
Yeah.
United had been tracking him thanks to Carlos Queiroz, their assistant coach.
Okay.
But that match, August 6, 2003, it was the inauguration of Sporting's new stadium. Ronaldo was up against John O'Shea.
Poor John O'Shea.
The source says O'Shea needed an oxygen tank at halftime. Ronaldo just twisted him inside out. Ferguson later said it was the biggest surge of excitement he'd ever felt in the dugout.
And here is the Ferguson detail that matters.
He refused to leave the stadium until the deal was signed.
He literally held the team bus up.
He told the board, I'm not leaving Lisbon without this boy. Other clubs wanted to sign him and loan him back. Ferguson paid $12.2 million a record for a teenager and took him to Manchester immediately.
So he lands in Manchester. Rainy, cold, industrial Manchester. And Ferguson immediately throws him into the deep end. He gives him the number 7 shirt.
Which is hallowed ground. Best, Robson, Cantona, Beckham. It's the shirt of the king.
And Ronaldo was terrified.
He actually asked for number 28. He wanted low expectations.
He wanted to hide.
Ferguson said, no, you're wearing the 7. It was a masterstroke of psychology. He was forcing the kid to accept that he belonged in that lineage, whether he felt ready or not.
But the belonging didn't happen overnight. The source material paints a pretty rough picture of his first few years, the show pony era.
Oh, it was a massive culture clash. You have to picture the United dressing room in 2003. It was filled with hard men.
Roy Keane, Paul Scholes.
The Neville brothers. These are blue-collar, no-nonsense winners. And in walks this teenager with frosted tips, doing 1,000 step-overs and holding on to the ball.
They must have hated him.
They kicked him in training. They bullied him to toughen him up. But the real friction was with the star striker, Ruud van Nistelrooy.
This is the tactical mismatch, right? Can you explain that?
Sure. Think of Ruud van Nistelrooy as a waiter who just wants to serve the food. He wants the ball delivered into the box so he can tap it in.
And he was used to David Beckham,
who would just whip the cross in immediately. Ronaldo. He's like a waiter who juggles the plates for 5 minutes before serving them.
So Ruud makes a run, expects the ball, and Ronaldo is still doing tricks 40 yards away.
Exactly. Ruud despised it. There were training ground fights. Van Nistelrooy literally told Ferguson, I can't play with this guy. He belongs in a circus, not on a football pitch.
And while he's dealing with this professional isolation, tragedy strikes at home.
2005. His father dies.
From alcoholism.
Yes. Dennis passed away from liver failure. And this is a crucial piece of the psychological puzzle. Ronaldo had money by then. He tried to put his father in the best clinics in England.
But his father refused the help.
He couldn't save him. And notice the contrast. His brother, Hugo, was struggling with drug addiction at the same time. Ronaldo intervened there, paid for everything, and successfully got Hugo clean.
But he failed with his dad.
And the analysis here is that this trauma is what hardened him. It's why Ronaldo doesn't drink. It's why he treats his body like a temple. He saw exactly what a lack of discipline does to a man.
So he's grieving, he's fighting his teammates, and then comes the summer of 2006, the moment he became public enemy #1.
The World Cup. Germany. England versus Portugal, quarterfinal.
The wink.
The wink. Wayne Rooney, his United teammate, gets tangled up with a defender. Ronaldo sprints 40 yards to scream at the referee, demanding a red card.
Rooney shoves him. Rooney gets sent off.
And as Rooney walks past, the cameras catch Ronaldo looking at the Portugal bench and winking. Like, job done.
It was pure villainy. The British press exploded.
They burned effigies of him in the streets. The tabloids printed dartboards with his face on them. They blamed him entirely for England losing.
And he wanted to leave, right? He was done with England.
He told his agent, get me out. I can't go back there. He had his bags packed for Real Madrid.
So this is where Ferguson earns his paycheck. How did he convince the most hated man in England to come back to Manchester?
He flew to Portugal and sat him down. He used history. He reminded Ronaldo of David Beckham in '98, after Beckham got sent off against Argentina.
The whole country hated him then, too.
Ferguson told him, you are brave on the pitch, but running